In this video, we are going to see how to create easily a printable invoice in Excel. So step by step from scratch, we're going to see how to create this invoice with pay to, bill to, date, due date, the terms, and also with a bunch of rows and space to input the services, the activity, quantity, rate, amount, and a lot of other informations such as the taxable services and on and on. So let's find out how can we do it in Excel. Now, let's go. We can get started first creating the header of our invoice. So let me select a couple of cells. I don't want to start in the first cell of Excel because I think it's a good idea to leave a blank space to skip the first row and the first column, just because I think it's look better. And so let me go here to the cell B2, click, hold, and drag until the column I. And then we can merge everything like that. And maybe we can input here something like invoice and then hash sign. Let's say this is the invoice number 1001, but it could be the invoice, the first one. So 001, for example, it doesn't matter. But let me start with this number right here. Let me put everything in bold and increase the font size maybe to 18, because it's going to be much better to visualize. Now I want to skip 2 rows because, again, I think it's going to look good. But if you want to only skip 1 row, you be free to do what you think is the best. Now it's very important to input information such as pay to. And the pay to information indicates the recipient of the payment, typically the seller or the service provider. Okay, so let me start here with maybe the name. Let's use here a simple name, Jopa Excel Services, for example, enter. And then we can have another informations, maybe the telephone number, the bank account, the email, the address. So let me put here the address, and the email can be mail@example.com. Okay, so those are the informations that I want to use. And this column C right here, we can increase the width of this column because, as we can notice, the texts are being spilling out of the side of the column. So let's, in between the column C and D, click, hold, and drag to the right, because that way we can increase the width. I want to use something like 20, but let me right click in the column C and then column width, because here I can specify exactly the number that I need. And then, okay, yeah, that's it. I can also go here to pay to and change the background to a blue one, put everything in bold, and also the font color to a white one. Now I think it's much better. Now we can move on to something similar. However, now we can go to bill to and then colon, and the bill to usually specifies the entity for making the payment, usually the buyer or the customer or the client. Let me also click here in the pay to and use the same design to the bill to. So go to pay to, click in the format painter, just ons, click, and then go to bill to. Yeah, that's it. Now we can also copy those informations here, right click, copy, and then paste to the right of the bill to. Right click and then paste, just to make sure we have the same informations, but of course we can change to be used as our customer. So customer ABC, and then you can put here the telephone or the bank account or any other informations. Let me also click in the column F, right click, and go to column width. Again, 20, and then enter. Okay, now we can move on to a information that is also very important. So date, due date, and also we can have the terms. Let's say the date of this invoice is equal to January 1st of 2025. And then the due date is going to be 30 days. So equal sign, the previous date, add to, plus sign, 30, and then enter. And as we are using here the due date as 30 days, the terms is going to be net 30. The net 30 means that the payment date is due within 30 days of the invoice date. So this is why I'm using here net 30, and this is why I'm adding 30 days to the invoice date. Let me also increase the width of this column right here, just a little bit, okay? And another thing that I want to say is, as we can notice, we need to manually input the informations into this invoice right here. But we could also automate a lot of steps of this invoice, such as I could choose here through a list. Let's say I click on the cell, and then there's a lot of different options to choose, net 30 and so forth. And by the criteria that I chose right here, I can change automatically the due date based on the invoice date. We can make a lot of automations here in this invoice. We can also create here a data validation to choose the customer or the client or the buyer, and all the other informations are going to automatically be retrieved for us. But in this video, I just want to make something simple. However, if you want to see a more complete video about an invoice in Excel with many other tools and other features and some automations, let me know, comment down below, because I can, of course, bring a new video about this subject. Let's again click in the Build to, Format Painter, just once, and select here the date, the due date, and the terms. Okay, like that. I can also select here everything to the right and align horizontally and vertically. Yeah, that's it. Now we can move on to maybe skip here 1, 2 rows. And in this row right here, the 11th row, we can input the informations about the services, activity. Let me skip here 1, 2 columns, and then we can have the quantity, and then the rate, and then the amount. Okay, let me select all those cells and align everything horizontally and vertically. Let me select those first 2 cells and merge together. And also the activity, select those 3 cells and merge together. Now let me select again everything and a couple of rows underneath, like that. If you, of course, later on you need to use more rows to input more services, you can easily do it. But anyway, let me start with just the header. So select the header, click on borders, all borders, and then put everything in bold. Change the background to the blue one that we used before, and also the white font, white as the font. Now let me select the cell underneath the services, both cells, merge, and bring those cells down like this, maybe into the row 25. I think it's a good idea. And also the activity, select all those 3 cells, merge, bring it down. Okay, now let me select again everything and put borders on everything. Okay, like that. I think now it's okay. Let's say the first services that I have, just an example, is a maintenance. And so the service is basically the category, the main category. Let me align to the left. And as the activity, I also want to align everything to the left. And now the activity can be used as a description of the service. So equipment, let's say equipment maintenance. Okay, quantity, let's use 2 just to use a number different than 1. And as the rate, it can be, let's say, $450. And the amount is going to be a very simple calculation, equal sign, rate, times, asterisk, times the quantity. Enter, okay. Let me select those 2 last cells and change the format to a currency one, a $sign. I also want to select everything that I have here and align horizontally and vertically. Now I can select the amount at the bottom right corner of the cell, click, hold, and drag down to copy the calculation down. And whenever we enter here a new service, so let's say quantity equal to 1 and the rate equal to 500, enter, the amount is going to automatically retrieve the result. Now we can move on to the rows underneath to input the last informations. That can be maybe the subtotal. Let me select both of those cells here and then merge everything and align to the right. Let me bring it down 1, 2, 3 times. The first cell is going to be here, subtotal, colon, and then also maybe we can have a text, maybe 10%, maybe 8, maybe 5, I don't know. So here is going to be, let's say you have a taxable service. So you can automatically calculate the tax. Maybe we can also have here the freight or other costs, but let me go directly to the total. That is the addition of those two previous cells, and then the balance due, colon, enter. Let's say the subtotal is going to be equal sign, sum function, double click, 1, 2, and then I want to make an addition of all the cells above, like this, and then enter. The text is going to be equal sign, as I'm using 10%, so 10% times asterisk the value above, the subtotal, and then enter. The total is going to be equal sign, the sum, double click, 1, 2, between the first and the second cell, enter. And now the balance due is going to be equal sign, the total, and then enter. We can also click on this balance due and increase a little bit the font, maybe to 14, just to make it bigger and easier to see. Now let me select all those cells right here and go to put everything in bold, a blue background, and white font. Maybe we can do the same thing here to this last value, the balance due. Everything in white, blue, and bold. Yeah, that's it. Let me just make a test here. If I have a rate that is equal to 8,000 and then enter, okay, we have a problem. We cannot see properly the value because when we have a lot of hashes, signs in Excel, it's because the value within the cell is actually bigger than the width of the column. So to solve this problem, we can increase a little bit the width of this last column. A little bit more, or double click, 1, 2. Yeah, that's it. Now it's working. So this is what I need. And to all those cells here to the left, we can select everything and then go to merge and center. We can align vertically and horizontally, and maybe we can use a bold. And here we can input a message to our customer, to our buyer, such as thank you for your businesses or business, okay? And then enter. Yeah, that's it. I think we're done. So this is our invoice in Excel. And if you need more rows to input here, more services, what you can do is, if you click within any row here in the middle, you can right click and then go to insert. Now, as you can see, a new row is inserted here. However, maybe we can have some problems. As we can notice, the calculations is going to work properly. Look, the new row is indeed being automatically included in the calculation, in the addition. However, maybe it's not the best way to input a new row. So let me undo this action. And maybe you can do this by click in any row and then right click. You can copy and then again right click, insert copied cells. Now we can duplicate and insert new rows without messing up with the formulas and the functions and with the design of our invoice. But let's say, and if I press Ctrl P, look what's going to happen. My invoice is already here, ready to, let's say, be printed. But as you can notice, it's not properly organized within a sheet. So let me go back to Excel, and I want to click in this little button right here, in the third one that we have here. Okay, so in this button right here, click in this button, and then we can change the visualization of our spreadsheet. As we can notice, there is this line in between. We can click, hold, and drag to the right. And these bluish lines at the top and to the left, we can click, hold, and drag in. And also here, drag in. Now the area within this blank area, this blank color, is the area that is going to be printed. And all this grayish area is not going to be printed. So let's again press Ctrl P, or you can change again the visualization, clicking this button that we was using before. Okay, and then Ctrl P, and as we can see, now everything is working. So this is how we can create an invoice in Excel, and also this is how we can print in PDF or actually physically print this invoice. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and again, if you want to see a more complete video about this invoice in Excel on how can we automate a lot of those steps, let me know, comment down below, and I see you tomorrow because every day has a new video. So I see you there.